All right, you guys, bear with me here a minute. This is all new. I'm hoping you guys will be able to hear the jet and all that once we get to that point. All right, so I'm going to guess we're doing okay here. Um, I really need to. Well, you know what? Let's go ahead and get the flight loaded. We'll get the flight loaded, and then I'll check and see if we're streaming here. I'm going to try to balance this out because I don't know that. I don't think this is going over Twitch at the same time as well. So I'm just going through YouTube, and but either way, it's all good either way. Let's go over here. I gotta record a flight here real quick. I just got done doing a long flight. I did a flight for Miami to Denver. I did it on VATSIM. So I got me some hours on there tonight. Go to load. Okay, so I think we'll just do the KIND. We'll fly to Louisville. Alright, guys. And then I'm going to check the stream here in a minute. Last time I streamed, I know it buffered out for some reason here on YouTube. I don't know why, but... So, you can override your flight levels. And sometimes there's a good reason to do that, right? Like, if you're doing a short flight, maybe you're only flying for 40 minutes. What would be the purpose of really going all the way up to 37,000? I mean, that would just be crazy. You'll be lucky if you make it up to 37,000 before it's time to, start descending again to land. So, I wonder if I can... Let me see if I can get my keyboard here. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. We're going to try. I don't want to restart now. Let's do this. There might be feedback. I didn't even think about that. Okay, let's see. Let's see how it sounds real quick. Give me 1 second. Oh yeah, I think we're good, guys. Alright, let's see. Yeah, we're good. Okay. So, we're going to go ahead and do this flight. I got it loaded here.
Starting flight simulator.
We'll hit OK on that. And I went in, I got the controller all set now, because when I was pulling back on my yoke here, it it didn't do nothing. So, got to fix that. So I had to go in there and, oh my gosh, what's it called when you gotta, like, you gotta go in, push a button, and you gotta, like, move your, your yoke left and right, in and out. This yoke is a little different from my other one. This one here, I actually like it. It mounts to the front of my desk, and it's like your regular jet yoke. It's got the handles on each side. It's got buttons on each, for the left hand, buttons for the right hand. You come down, I've got a couple rocker switches. This did not, the thing that really got me though, this doesn't have as many buttons as what the advertisement said. It's got one hat button. And I can't figure out how to make it work but one direction. Like if you push the button forward and then you try to make another setting for pushing it down or left and right, it all does the same thing no matter what way you push it. So it sets it for like hat 1 or whatever. So anyways, alright, we're gonna wait for this to come up. It's, so far I like it, but I don't like the fact that it doesn't have as many buttons as I thought. Don't get me wrong, it's got enough for all my main stuff. So I've got a button for my approach. I've got a button for approach. I've got a button for
Indianapolis
airspeed
INTL to
hold.
Louisville INTL Standiford.
I've got a button
to
for
KSDF. Local time 8:21 and 33 seconds AM. 13:21
auto
Zulu
brakes.
time.
I've got a
0%
button
flaps
for
trailing. 0% flaps leading.
my flaps. I've got a button for GPS. Turn it off. Yeah, so I got a button for my GPS, my nav, my gears, my, like I said, airspeed hold, auto throttle. What's that do? Yeah, my heading. What's up do? Yeah, that's auto throttle. So I've got one button I need to still get programmed. Actually two, so I can do that. I will be able to program that. And anyways, so it's not bad so far. I'm going to test it out and see how it does. When I pull back on it, it should raise my front end when I go to land. Alright, you guys, let's go ahead and do that. There's the flight plan loaded. The 1/2 button there. iOS. We'll do 17 left. Alright, so we got all that done. Let's start this puppy up. Maybe. Alright. And then I've also got 3 levers on the top right side. I've got a lever for my throttle. I've got a lever for my reverse thrust. And I've got a lever for my spoiler. And so I will tell you the reverse thrust works amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. I believe it's going to make our landings much better. So let's go ahead and get to a runway
Flight assistance
here.
page.
And yes, you're hearing air control. Listen to the air control here. All right, engines are up. Runway 05.
Move to location runway 05L. Push back. Local time 8:25 and 40 seconds AM.
Okay, so I've got all that. Let's go back so you can see. You're going to be able to see me take off. Let's go ahead and get some stuff set up here.
Auto throttle arm, on. Auto throttle active, on. Auto throttle active, off.
Yeah, we don't want auto throttle on yet. There we go. Alright, so we'll go ahead and set auto throttle.
Auto throttle arm, off. Auto throttle arm, autopilot yaw damper, on.
Alright. Flaps. Third flaps
3%
1.
flaps trailing, 25% flaps leading, 36% 47% flaps leading, 5% flaps trailing, 79%
Flaps two.
flaps leading, 90% flap, 100% flaps leading, 7% flaps trailing, 11% flaps, 12% flaps trailing, 16% flaps trailing, 20% flaps trailing, 24%, 25% flaps trailing.
Set. Auto brake is on RTO. Let's go ahead and let it warm up here a minute. I believe we're ready.
Three knots. 7 knots. 15 knots. 28 knots. 52 knots. 79 knots.
Auto throttle active, On.
97 knots. 117 knots. 116 knots. 112 knots. 108 knots. 104 knots. 102 knots.
Takeoff power. On.
100 knots. 101 knots. 104 knots.
Why is it so good?
110 knots. 117 knots.
Autopilot master switch. On.
127 knots. 135 knots. 146 knots.
Off ground. 15
There you
feet, 25 feet, 40 feet, 60 feet, 90 feet, 120, 150, 190 feet. Takeoff. Local time 8:29 and 9 seconds AM. Takeoff distance 9,706 feet. Takeoff speed 152.30 knots. 14% flaps trailing. 12% flaps, 43 degrees heading, 48 degrees compass
You're up.
magnetic. 9% flaps trailing. 5% flaps trailing. 3% flaps trailing. 0% flaps trailing. 76% flaps leading. 65, 54% flaps leading.
Yes.
43%, 32% flaps leading. 22% flap, autopilot NAV lock, on. 0% flap, right 40% CDI. 2,000 feet altimeter. Right 50%
You're
CDI.
going way too fast.
Right 60% CDI. Takeoff power, off.
It was
2,500,
my bad.
right 70%
I was,
CDI. 67 degrees heading, 72 degrees compass mag, right 80% CDI.
I'm too
In
busy
cloud.
watching some other stuff and not paying
Right
attention to my
90%
speed.
CDI.
Shame on me. I completely forgot about John. Turn off, slow down the speed, bud. Well, that'd be a ticket when we
3,500
land,
feet
won't it? Hey, I want to thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it.
115 degrees heading.
Be sure to tap
120
on that
degrees compass
subscribe
magnetic.
button if you're not yet a subscriber here at BVI Pilots. And I've just got all kinds of people just commenting on my posts and all that stuff. I am a brand new graduate from college, by the way. I just graduated yesterday with my associate's degree in criminal justice.
168
So I'm happy
degrees
about
heading,
that.
173 degrees compass magnetic.
You know, it's one of those things like it doesn't seem real, you know? And I know it's real, but it seems, I don't know.
5,500 feet altimeter. 218 degrees heading, 223 degrees compass magnetic.
So,
6,000 feet
but
altimeter.
It sometimes it just don't seem real, you know what I mean? But it's real. It's the real deal, but I don't know. You know,
227 degrees heading, 232 degrees compass magnetic.
when I was younger, I didn't really, not really. So as I was growing up, you guys, I
7,000 feet altimeter.
had this big problem with my eyesight. I didn't accept it, you know, all this other stuff. And then I got older and I got my ex-wife pregnant, and I was like, well, I gotta take responsibility. So then I
Right
started
90% CDI.
getting myself together. But
225
before
degrees
that,
heading, 230
like I didn't
degrees
care.
compass
I
magnetic.
dropped out of school. I, you know, said, oh, what's so
Right,
important about
80%
education, right? But I'll tell you right now, don't ever drop out of school, because it's not worth it. You're
Right,
going to find a
70%
hard
CDI.
way to go if you do. yeah, I managed to get through it, and I ended up getting my diploma, and I ended up going to college.
222
and I
degrees
ended up
heading, right
graduating with an
60% CDI.
associate's in criminal justice. And
8,500
I'm
feet
going
altimeter.
back for psychology, but there's a lot of
Right
work
50%
behind it
CDI.
every day. You just got to get through it, that's all. So,
Right 40% CDI.
alright, let's see.
218 degrees heading, 223 degrees compass magnetic. Right 30% CDI.
Alright, again, not a long flight at all. Matter of fact, I'm gonna make sure Tramp's got it. And no, it does. The nice thing about this flight controller is it's been giving me some really good, like, smooth landings. So I am happy about that. I'm hoping this time I can hear my flaps. Last time I didn't. I didn't think they were extending, but they was, and yeah. You don't want to do that. So I'm thinking about, if I end up keeping this one, having a flight event. So if someone wants the other one, they're going to have to earn it. They're going to have to be in a little competition that I make up. Okay. Again, you guys be sure to subscribe. Give us a thumbs up if you will. Let me know what you think about the video. Here's our scenery so far. Here's what you can see. Probably not, well, at least not for me, it's not a lot. Yeah, we're going to be landing here real shortly. That'll change here real shortly. Probably about 7 minutes away. So a few more minutes and it'll be descending. also have a new computer coming, you guys, and when that happens, we'll be doing much better. OBS, YouTube, Sim, you know, all that stuff. We'll be doing a lot better. Yep, one more waypoint to go here. I just hope when I go to land, I pull back on this. Pull back on this yoke, it will actually raise the front end. I'm pretty sure you pull back on it, that raises it, and you push it forward, that lowers it. So it's just a matter of doing some tests, seeing what it does. But yeah, it's crazy. I you know, not having college and finally being off, it's just weird. I don't have anything I got to worry about doing right now. You know, someone asked me, well, if you just get a good job, would you even go back for psychology? And I think I would, just because there's a certain career path that I want to take, and this, you know, doing this is just not it. Seconds. Oh no, we're already going. Okay. We'll do that. Ready? Good. Went to M2. Looking good. Five. When I get down to about 7,000. Between 6 and 7, I'll put on the auto approach. Now, if you notice, I'm setting my speed to 170. You really want to have these speeds under control before you get down there at the last minute. So that's what we got going on here. We're at 226.
Localizer is alive. NAV1 is localizer.
There it is. There's our approach mode. We're at 178. Put the flaps at 15, and when I get down near landing, about 500 feet, we'll bring them out all the way. And I'll lower my gear at about 5 miles out. Yeah, I think I do like this yoke though. It's got, once I get used to where I've set all my buttons. My spoiler is one of my throttles. It's the throttle to the very right. I got 3 throttles and it's the very right throttle. When I push that forward, it activates my spoilers. But I don't have to do that right now because M2 does it already. We're at, when we get down to about 3,000, I'm going to change that speed from initially speed set to 170, but once I get down to 3,000, I'm going to come down and I'm going to set that speed. When it gets to 3,000, we'll set it to 135.
Glide slope is alive.
I know it's alive. I'm connected to it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Check our stats here. 172 knots indicated. 5119 AGL. 741 ASM. Two. I went ahead and went to 135. That way I can go ahead and go up here. I can go ahead and go to M2 up here, and when I get to 500, I'll uncheck that. And once I get that unchecked, I've got pretty much everything in control with my controller up here. "13 miles." So like I said, once I get to about 5 miles, we're going to drop the gear. And the nice thing is now I've got a reverse thrust. So as I'm landing, when I hear it say 50 feet, I'm putting part of my hand on the throttle, the other part of my hand on the reverse thrust, and I'm moving the throttles in the opposite directions. And it seems to work out good when I do that. Speaking of that, let's set go to auto position 3. We're at 134 knots indicated. You know, it is daytime, but let's just for the hell of it. Landing lights are on. Not that we need them, but hey.
2,500.
Alright, we're getting ready to go under that 2,000 mark. And let's go ahead and take a look here. We'll go ahead and hit our button for our get ready to lower our gear. Gear is down. When I get about 600, we're going to bring the flaps all the way out. Looking good, 1520. Everything's looking really good, guys. Now I am going to set it to visual so you guys can. Actually, I'm going to do something about it. So you're going to hear this beep, but I got to do that so I can test this. Sorry about the beeping, but
$500.
alright.
400. 300. 200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10,
135 knots. 114 knots. 90 knots. 81 knots. 62 knots. 42 knots.
Hopefully that was good. And I'll turn that beeping off. Hold
25
on,
knots.
guys.
7 knots.
What?
Why you have two now? Why'd you buy two?
Because it's a different one. Because I can.
Why would you buy two then?
Because I can.
Where'd you get the other one?
Same place I got the first one.
Tasha?
I can get them off of Tasha.
Tasha brought that to you, I thought.
No, she.
That came in the mail.
You're fucking nuts, dude.
Instead of using the DD, we can use the banana. Because we have banana.
Yeah, but what?